Today, we're going to be building a very simple football game. Hello there, friends. This is my desk from Kids Dread again, and here I am back with yet another Scratch tutorial. And today, we're going to be building a very simple football game. Okay, we're going to be building a football game today, and we're not going to be bringing or needing anything outside Scratch. In fact, the sprites we're going to use are this cat and Giga. Let's use Giga maybe, and just the football, and then we're going to design some goalposts. So let's get right into it. Okay, to start, let us use some people are not so comfortable having sprite one here, so let's just change this to cats. Okay, and first thing I want to do is I want to be able to make its controls, right? And since it's going to be a two-player game, I would like the usual controls for two players on keyboards to be the standard, which is WASD for the person on the left hand side and the arrow keys for the person on the right hand side. Okay, so I'll start here. Let's start when the green flag is clicked. Okay, I'll make this bigger. When the green flag is clicked, and when the green flag is clicked, let's reduce the size. What do you think? So let's reduce the size from here. Some of you might be thinking, why not just reduce the size from here? Well, the reason why it's not the best option to reduce the size from here is because if I reduce the size from here and just change it to 50, it does the work. But if someone comes here after our game has been completely done, if someone comes here and changes it, it could affect the whole game. So it's always better that you put it here so that when someone no matter what happens in the game, once you click when green flag clicked, it all resets back to its normal state, the state you set for it in the code. Okay, so controls. So let's go over to forever. Now I want to use the if then block and the sensing block key space pressed. I want to use this since we're using WASD to control the cats. So I want to make it easier, we want it to be able to turn 360 degrees left and right. I want it to be able to move forward and move backward. Notice I didn't say go up or down, move forward and move backward, and that's where move 10 steps comes into the picture. So I'm going to go choose W, and W is going to represent moving forward, which is move 10 steps. Let's make it move 5 steps so it doesn't move way too fast. Okay, now if I click on the green flag W, yeah, it's moving. Okay, now just duplicate this. Let's duplicate this one, put it right below here, and this is going to do the opposite. Now if you look at your keyboard, right below W there is S, right? And that is why we're using S for going backward. So just change this 5 to -5. Okay, so if you press this, now it's working. But we want it to be a little bit more alive, like, so let's just add since I don't know if you know, but if you assuming you don't know, we can always go to the costumes here and check out the two different costumes that are available for the cat, which are these two, right? Costume 1 and costume 2. And so I'll just, since they are just two, so they're already in order, I'll just come over to looks here and just add next costume to both if thens, so that every time I press them, see, it moves. It moves like it's walking. Okay. So now let's be able to want them to be able to turn around now, and to do that, let's just have the if then. So I just duplicated this. Now I've duplicated this. It's almost the same thing, but we're going to remove the next costumes and move 10 steps, move 5 steps rather. Okay, so I want to change the W this time around. The first one is to be D. D is representing right arrow, or pointing to the right. Okay, So I'm going to go to motion, and the second block in motion, turn 15 degrees right? This arrow points to the right. So I'm going to drag this one right here. And 15 degrees may just be too much. So I'll just reduce it to maybe 6. Do the same thing for the left, and 6. Okay, so if I click on the green flag now, something isn't working right. Oops, this is not supposed to be, it's supposed to be A, sorry. This is A. Okay, now it's working. Okay, now look at that. Okay, so our cat is set and ready to move. Now, I'm not bringing out the second player just yet, because what we're going to be doing on the second player is very, very close, or almost the same as what we're already doing on this first player. So there's an easy way to just move the code, which I'm going to show you very soon. But until then, now that we have this cat, right? What do you say we bring out the football? Okay, so let's get out our football. Soccer ball, I think it's called. I'll just search here, soccer. Okay, here it is. The soccer ball. Now, of course, the soccer ball is too big. The first thing we want to do is reduce the size. So when the green flag is clicked, it's nice. It would be nice to understand the when green flag click block as setting the stage or setting everything in order. So anytime when the green flag, that's why we always bring out when green flag clicked. So when the green flag is clicked, whatever is not arranged on the stage for the game to start should just arrange itself. So the first set of things that happen immediately when the green flag is clicked is maybe setting the score to 0, changing the size of the players or the ball, and setting the colors right, just putting everywhere in its right position before the game really starts. Okay, so we are going to be setting the size to, how about 40? Not bad, but I'll stick with 50. Okay, not bad. Now, as it is, these two sprites are only pictures to each other, and one is going to overlap the other. See, because the ball came out last, the ball is just staying right on top. The ball does not even know that there is a cat somewhere in this picture or on this stage. So how do we make it seem like they can actually see each other, or they can actually touch each other, right? So to do that, we're going to say if touching. We're going to use the if block to say if touching. If the cat touches the ball should move. Okay, and maybe we're going to have like two different functions where you can just move with the ball. You can just move the ball easily, and then the second function is going to be that you can decide to shoot or just kick the ball so that the ball goes farther away from you. Okay, so to do that, there are different ways to do that, but I recommend we can go to the cat and say if touching ball, okay, broadcast something. Say so this is fine. Let's assume that we've already created this whole block for the movement. Now, it's a good practice to not overload a script, and this is a script, right? So it's a good practice to not overload a script. So since that's the case, I'll just bring out a new one here, so that this one is going to run irrespective of whatever is happening here. Now, since I'm done with this one, I can just move it a bit to the left here. So my code is still there, but just creating more space for me to put some more script. So here, once when green flag is clicked, I'm going to bring out a new forever. So the forever here, I want to say if touching, sensing, if touching ball, if touching soccer ball. Now, this is what's going to happen. Normally, we could easily just say if touching the soccer ball, the ball should just keep moving, right? But since the cat can turn in any direction, we want the soccer ball to also turn in the direction of the ball. And we want the soccer ball to turn in the direction of the cat. So we want the soccer ball to only go in the direction that the cat is facing when it's moving. Okay, so we're going to say if touching soccer ball, right? Touching soccer ball, broadcast. Okay, so we're going to say in events broadcast. Now, what does this broadcast message really do? Broadcast message is a simple way for two sprites or two or more sprites to communicate with each other, because right, we can say if touching soccer ball, but everything we do on each sprite can only affect its sprite. Whatever you do on a sprite cannot affect another sprite. Okay, so the only way you can actually make it seem like another sprite is being affected by the activity in the first sprite is by using a broadcast. And here I'm just going to say broadcast, let's just say move ball. Move ball. I don't want to put the space, so just move ball. Okay. Move ball. Now, move ball is just responsible for moving the ball. But it's not the cat cannot control when the ball moves. Okay, so that is why we have to go into the soccer ball and say when I receive, now look at the block here. When I receive move ball, now it's not only the soccer ball that can actually receive it, every other sprite that is in the game can actually receive any broadcast. But in this case, it's the ball that we want to receive the broadcast. So when I receive move ball, first thing we want to do is we want the ball to point in the direction of the cat. Right? We want the ball to point in the direction of the cat. So we're going to say go to motion, there's a point in direction, right? Notice there's point towards here, point towards the cat, point in direction. Now this is just point in direction 90. Now, if we go to sensing, we want to get the direction of the cat. Okay, so we're just going to go into sensing, scroll downward a bit, and you see this block that says backdrop of stage. There's a lot of things hidden in there, so you can drag this one out, and it's not a stage we're looking forward to getting the directions. We just click on stage and choose cat, and so we have more properties of the cat to point towards. We have X position, Y position, direction, costume name, size, but what we need is the direction. So point in direction, and if you guessed it right, then that's good. We are putting it right here. Now, where we just put it is going to move. Is immediately going to point in the direction. Now look at this. See, did you notice the ball move just now? Now see, the ball is also turning in the direction of the cat. But this only happens when the cat is touching the ball. Okay, so right then we're just going to add a simple move 10 steps block. Okay, a simple move 10 steps block. And since our original sprite is moving 5 steps, we want the ball to move a little bit ahead of the player. So the soccer ball is going to move 7 steps, or maybe 8. Okay, so look at that. Okay, look at that. So player, my ball is moving in the direction of the cat. Nice. So that worked out fine. Okay, so maybe it's about time for us to introduce our second sprite or second player. Okay, so like I said earlier, I want to choose Giga. Now, the reason why I chose these two sprites is because they have this nice, their costumes actually align better when it comes to walking, both of them. So Giga, this is Giga walking, precisely. This is Giga walking, he has a really big head. If you want to, you could actually rescale that. So I'm going to reduce the size of Giga too, but to make this easy, why don't I just drag the code from here? So I'm just going to do this, drag the code from here, and once it shakes, works, and I'm going to do the same thing for this code. So now, Giga has the exact code. If you come over to Giga here, see, it has both codes that the cat has now. So that means that, see, So, but Giga, since he's going to be the player on the right, and Giga is actually facing this direction, you notice that we want him to face this direction. Okay. Wanted to face the opposite direction, anyways. So we're going to first of all change his controls. Okay, and for him, W is going to be up arrow, S is going to be down arrow, D is going to be right arrow, and A is going to be left arrow. So now it moves independent of the cat's ball. The ball is still moving in the direction of the cat. That's not what we want. So this broadcast is the same thing as the cat broadcast, and that is also not fair, because if we're using the same broadcast message, the ball is going to be confused as who exactly is controlling me right now, whose direction am I supposed to follow. So we can just set the new message, move ball. I think I have a better idea. Why not let's just call it Giga kick ball, right? Giga kicked ball. That's better, and I could just make the one for the cat. I just leave that before. It's okay. All right. So back on Giga kicked the ball. So it's going to be the same thing here. When I receive, duplicate this one. It's pretty much the same thing, just that this time around it's going to be Giga kicked ball. So it's not going to be the direction of the cat anymore. It's going to be the direction of Giga walking. Still the same move, 7 steps. So now Giga also has control. Look at that. It changed the X position back. That's why it looks like it's not going in the right direction as we expect it to. So I'll change this one to direction again. So it's Giga. Okay. So look at there. Giga is moving the ball just like the cat was. Nice. Okay, so our game is building up quite fine. Our next aim is to, can you guess it? Let us set up their positions. Okay, let us set up their positions. For us to set up their positions, we can easily just go to each of the sprites and say, when green flag clicked, you go to this side, and when green flag clicked, you go to this side, and the ball, when the green flag is clicked, you go to the middle. So to accomplish that, since we still have this one, we can just bring out, go to X, put it right under when green flag clicked, because those are one of the things we want to be set up once the game starts. So for the cat, since the cat is the one on the left-hand side, we're going to have X position could be minus. Now, why am I choosing minus? If you're wondering why, let me show you this. So you can just go to choose a backdrop, and at the bottom here I have XY grid. Okay, now this XY grid shows us every point of the width and height of our stage. Okay, on the left hand side here, the extreme is X is minus 240, and on the other side it is 240. Those are the points of those edges. The same thing goes for Y. At the top is 180, and at the bottom is minus negative 180. Okay, so the center is the middle. So before I take this backdrop off, I want to use this to organize exactly where our players are going to be. So I can just drag the cat here, just turn you a bit. Oops. I'm changing the name. Okay, so just turn you a bit. Okay, so this is exactly where I want it to be, right here. Now this is presently at minus 218. Okay, so I can just write minus 218, plus 218 here. So it's always going to be there, and Y, I want the Y to be 0. So So when I click on the green flag, see, adjust itself to 0. Okay, so this is fine. Now we want to do the same thing for maybe I'll move it forward a little bit. I'll make this 210 because we are still going to bring a goalpost in. Okay. Now the same thing for Giga. Let's drag Giga to where we want him to face, and but now Giga is facing, well, the opposite direction, isn't he? Now how do we change that? First of all, let's have him start at this point. So let's just go to X. X is 2. We use 210 for cat, so we're going to use 210 for him too. And Y is going to be 0. Okay, so that does it. Now what we want to do is we just turn him in this direction right now, right? So now he's facing, though he's upside down, but it's facing the cat. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to costumes right there, and we're going to flip vertically all his costumes. So it seems like he's upside down, but in the real sense it's not actually upside down. It's just upside down. Yes. Okay, so here it is. Now to make him seem like it's because of his really big head and we've turned it upside down, that he can't really stay in the middle anymore. So I'll just put him somewhere similarly in the middle here, and this is Y22, so I'll just leave his Y at 22. Now please note, you could use the exact same values that I'm using here if you want, or you could always adjust it to what you prefer. Like, for example, you might want to change the size of the head. I could do this and reduce the size of the head, but just know that if you're going to be doing that to any of the costumes, make sure you do it to the other costumes and try to make sure they are almost the same thing, if not perfectly the same thing, so you don't have conflicting images on the stage here. Okay, now that we have that, let's go and delete our backdrop. We don't need this one anymore, but we do need a much nicer backdrop, right? So I'm just going to click on this the rectangle icon here, and I don't want color blue. Choose okay, I'm going to stick with this color. Okay, good. I'll stick with this color. Now notice that I'm letting it cover these 4 edges so that it's going to cover the whole stage. Okay, now I have it covering the whole stage. That's looking nice. Okay, of course, the ball also needs to go to the middle. So go to X0, in this case, 0, Y, 0. So once you click on the green flag now, everybody is in their respective positions and they are ready to play. Just a quick test run. Okay, so both of them can move around with the ball. Nice. Okay, look at that. When we click on the green flag, they are still they retain the position they were when you last played them, and you don't want that to. So let's go back to the cat. For that reason, we're going to just say point in direction. First of all, let's try to make the cat. So we just want, that means we want it to face 90. So point in direction 90 degrees, and here he's going to be pointing the opposite direction, which is minus 90, negative 90 degrees. So 90. So when the green flag is clicked, they're both facing each other. Nice. Okay, so let's add one more feature that is also important, because they're only running around with the ball. What if they want to shoot the ball, right? What if we want the ball to like just want to actually shoot the ball, like make the ball go a farther distance than just moving it around slowly? This case, what we're going to do is we're going to use an operator, and the operator we're going to be needing is this AND operator. Now, what do we need it for? We want to use the AND operator to be able to check when two things are happening at the same time. Now, what are the two things we want to happen at the same time? We want the sprite to be touching the ball, and the player should also be pressing a certain key when the sprite is touching the ball, so that it knows that it's supposed to kick the ball. Because naturally, as it is, the sprite is touching the ball for the ball to move. But then, when the sprite is touching the ball, and then when you're pressing a certain key, it should know that it's supposed to kick the ball far ahead. Okay, so we're going to have here another if then. I'm just going to put this one here. I'm going to add this AND block here. Now the AND block is going to have something similar to this one, like touching ball. Then I'm going to have a key space pressed. Now this is Giga, and since Giga is the one on the right hand side, we want to choose a key that is going to be responsible for playing a fast for shooting the ball. So I could use letter M because it's closer to the right hand side. Letter M. Now we're going to broadcast again. This time around we're going to call it Giga shots ball. Okay, now on the soccer ball, we're going to say when I receive Giga shot ball, there's going to be a difference. Okay, now it's not just going to move, right? It's going to move. You're probably guessing. Okay, let me put it this way. You're probably guessing that we're just going to make it move 50 steps maybe. But if you use something large, it's going to look like it disappeared to that location, and we don't want that to happen. So we are still going to first make sure it's pointing to the right direction, right? So it's still going to point into Giga's direction, but we're not going to make it look as if it's actually happening, like the ball is moving slowly, step by step. So we're going to bring out, we could use a repeat. We could use a simple repeat block. Now, repeat block is just going to make the ball move a certain number of steps, a certain number of times. Okay, so I'll make this maybe 35, and this is going to be moving at 5 steps. So let's try it. So this is Giga moving. Giga is touching. Oops, I didn't click on it. I clicked. Okay. Okay. And look at that. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, it is working. It's just that because they are moving at the same time, you can't tell. Oh, space. Look at that. So the ball moves farther ahead compared to farther ahead than the speed of Giga itself. Now it seems that Giga was actually following the ball because, well, Giga is moving. If you remember, Giga is also moving 5 steps. So if we want that to seem different, we just have to increase this one to the same number of steps as it was moving initially. So now, see? You see that? Okay, so we have that now. If you kick the ball against your player, it's going to bounce off the player. You saw that? Now that is because, did you notice that? Let's try it again. Look at that. So that was because once the ball touches the second sprite, the ball will automatically switch its direction to the direction of the sprite you just touched. So that's cool because it's like a defensive mechanism, right? Like it's the player is playing in defense. Okay, I hope you understand. So for the cat, we're going to do something similar. Just remove you. Get our and block. So just as a recap for how the and block works, the hand block only works when two things are happening at the exact same time. In our case, the sprite is touching the soccer ball and a certain key is being pressed on the keyboard. Okay, so this time around, maybe I'll just choose letter X or C because, well, they're much closer to W, A, S, and D. So this is going to be cat broadcast message. Okay, this one is going to be new message and cat shot ball. Okay, so cat shot ball, and here we go to receive that as well. Duplicate the same thing, but this time around is cat shot ball, and changing direction to cat, sprites to cat, and direction to cat. So it's the same thing right now. So that means let's try the cat too. The cat should be able to do the same thing. Okay, it is working. Let's try it again. Touch the guy's head. Nice. Okay. So that is working as we wanted to, and that is working all as planned. Now, let us add our goalposts. Okay, let's add our goalposts. Really simple thing. Let's have two sprites represent our goalposts. So we're going to design the sprites that represent our goalposts. So let me just move this young man away from the sides and paint a sprite. Now, you forgive my artistry, I'm not so good in art, but I'm just going to design, I just want to design a simple block. So I'm going to leave this one at just black and no fill. No fill, which I don't want any colors, but I do want an outline because this one it is going to look like a goalpost net. Okay, so I'm going to increase the border to maybe 4. So I'm just going to draw a little rectangle here. Okay, so it's in the middle. Oops. So just click on this one. Now that's centered. If you are having difficulty moving it around, remember it's because we don't have a fill. So that means that you can't move it from the inside. You have to click on the border to actually carry it around. But I think I like the way mine is looking. Now see, moving it around here is not going to be an easy job, but I'm not done. Now let's click on this line. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, we're just going to draw some nice lines, one edge to the other. Start this way. That one came out. Let me try it again. Okay, I have another. And another. So let's do this really fast. Okay. Okay, and one here too. Done. Now it's time to start making it a line up. So because they are lines, you can actually use point to point. One point can touch another point like this. You can make one point reach out to another point like this. Touched. This point comes to this one goes to this one, this one goes to this one. Okay, now this one can just point here, and this one can go here. This one can also go here. Okay, so I have my net. It's not looking so bad. Okay, so now that I have my net here, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to rename this sprite to something better. This now, because you are saying I'm creating just one there, that's because I don't want it to look different from the other one. So I'm just going to create just one and duplicate it. Okay, so this is going to be should I call it player one post or cat post? Let's just call it cat go, right? And then let's make it go over to where it's supposed to be, and that is the right hand side, which is go to X. Now I want it to go pretty far back to the end, so X is going to be -2. Let's try -230 and let's see where it goes. Okay. So that's -230, and I think, is it really in the middle? Right, so we're going to set this one to 0. Okay, that's more like it. Now look at that. -230. Let's make it to 40. So it's going to go in a little bit further. Nice. Okay. Nice. All right. That's easy. Okay, I think I actually prefer this when it was a bit outside, so 35 is fair. Okay, good. So now that we have this goalpost here, I'm going to just duplicate it, and this one is going to be giga goal. Giga goal. Now don't get confused. Giga's goal is where the cat has to score in, and the cat goal is where Giga has to score in. Okay, so in this case for Giga it's going to be just 235 without the negative. So good. Now I think, yeah, they are well positioned, both of them. Nice. Okay, so that means that we might have to adjust the positioning of our sprites because we want them to come out just a little bit more. But before then, let us what do we need to do next? We don't just want the ball to just touch the net and it's already a goal, because that's going to be too easy and defending may be slightly harder. So how about we put the goal inside the net? So we're going to design yet another sprite. And this other sprite is going to work like, because if you just place the ball and the ball just touches any line, it's pretty much a goal. We don't want that to happen. So we're just going to design another, I think it's still the same way. So I'm just going to draw out for this one, sorry, mistake. For this one, I'll need it to be filled, and maybe we have two different colors, two contrasting colors. Okay, so just choose one color Or we don't even need to choose any color because since we'll be using two different sprites. But if you want to choose a different color, it's still fine. Okay, I'll just leave it like this. Or I'll just take a white. Cool. Now I'm just going to draw. It's not too big. Reduce it a little bit. Centered. Reduce a little bit. In the center. Okay, good. So this is what is going to be the goalposts. Let's call it. I'm just going to call it goal 1 and goal 2. It's just going to be goal 1, so we don't get it confused. Now this guy is also going to go to the exact same location as cat goal, which is this. I'll just drag this one in here. Click on the green flag, stays here. But we don't want it to be disrupting the look now because now it's affecting the look and we don't want that. So let's go to look. So I'm going to send it to the back layer. And layer is just like, it's still going to be there, but it's going to be behind, just like the cat is. We're going to bring the cat, the sprite forward. Cat and Giga will come forward and the goalpost is going to be behind. Okay, so just look for, go to front layer. We change that to back. Oops, we did it on the wrong sprite. Look at that. Not this one. It was supposed to be on this guy. So I'll look from here. And okay, yeah, that's more like it. So good. So the cat, the goal is now right there somewhere. Now, but let's have the cats be a little bit below because you want to be able to enter your own post and get out the ball. So I think we want this. We want the post to come forward, to go forward one layer. Good. Look at the goalpost now. The goalpost is ahead. The post is right on top, and the cat can go in to his post and come out. Same thing for Giga. So we're just going to duplicate this as we did the others. And this is going to be without a negative. Go to back layer. Good. Okay, so we are fast approaching the end of our game today. And now what we just need is scores. We want to be able to score goals, right? So for that, we need two different variables to represent when Giga scores and when the cat scores a goal. So to accomplish that, let's go create variables. Make a variable. We can just call it player 1, P1, or no, let's just call it cat. So you already know your players, cat and Giga. Okay. Cat. Giga stays here. Cat stays here. So how do we manage scoring? First of all, so what the idea is that when Giga moves, hits the ball and the ball touches this white sprite, then Giga's score increases by 1. Then the ball goes back here. So we're simply going to say on the ball, now we're going to make more use of this when green flag clicked. Under it, we're going to have a forever block saying if touching goal 1, and goal 1 is the cats, right? So we're going to say if touching goal 1, if touching, where's touching? Okay, if touching goal 1, first thing is we want to change the 1K because I foresee a problem. Now, what's the problem with my foresee? If the ball touches it, and the ball does not leave there in time, the score keeps on counting. So the first thing we want to happen is because you say forever, right? And if the ball touches it, that means the score keep on increasing forever. So we want the ball to touch it and immediately return to the middle. Okay, the ball returns to the middle, then the score increases by 1, and maybe we had a fancy whistle to say well, a goal just happened. So we're just going to bring out here. We're going to say if touching goal 1, immediately we want the ball to return to this position. So go to x0, y0 immediately. Then after that, you can increase the score of Giga. And then let's make it blow a whistle. So to do that, let's go to sounds. This is basketball sound. Why do we have a basketball? Nope. We want a whistle instead. Let's go to sports and referee whistle. It's a referee whistle. So this is nice. Okay, so I'm just going to add that here and go to sounds. I'm going to say start referee whistle. The difference between start referee whistle and play referee whistle until done is that nothing else is going to happen until it is done playing, but this is just going to start it and every other thing goes on. So if we put this here, it's not the next code won't play until it's done playing. So we just need to start the sound. Okay. So let's test it. So next thing, what was this? Let me just move this guy, and I'm going to just move this one. Okay. So it's working, but the score is increasing, but our ball keeps on moving. It's supposed to stop at this point. It's not supposed to move anymore. Now that is a bug. We have to fix that. But first, what we've done for Giga right now, let's duplicate that for the cat, and this is going to be goal 2 for the other posts, and Giga is going to be cat score. Also, we want our scores to return to 0 almost immediately. Yes, immediately. In fact, okay, this is Giga. Okay, now so both of them return to their respective positions. Now, how do we make the ball stop moving immediately after the whistle? To do that, we'll have to go back to what is making it move consistently, which is this when I receive cat shot ball and Giga shot ball. Now let's first try for Giga shot ball. What we're going to do is this script keeps on moving because it's meant to repeat 35 times even if it touches anything. So we're going to come and say if inside here, we're going to say if touching goal 1. We want the script to stop, right? And the script is this whole one here. So let's just bring out, no, not stop all, but stop this script. Now let's try it. Move this guy out. Okay, nice. So it stops right there, and then all we have to do now is do the same thing for cat shot ball, which is the one right below here. Just duplicate that. This is going to be goal 2. So let's move this guy out of the road and let's see. Cool. Okay, so our game has come out just fine. All right. So that means that both players can play. Both players can play. And all right, this is lovely. Okay, so that is, if we click on the green flag, let's have a full example. Let's view our game in full screen mode and let's have a little go with it. So I'm presently the only one here who can actually play the game, so there's no one to play with. Okay, and this one gets the opportunity. It's 1-1. Okay, I'm controlling myself. Anyways, so we have seen how the game actually turns out. Don't forget to save your work. This is what you can do here. I'm going to call mine Scratch Football, and I'm just going to save it. That is if you're using an offline version, of course. I'm just going to save it to my computer where I have lots of other games. This is one I call Scratch Football, and save it. All right, so that's pretty much everything. And as a challenge for you, want to try adding a score, like a high score, or an hour mark, where maybe if any of the players get to 15, it says game over and says player Giga wins or Cat wins, whichever one, or something like that. So first to get to the 15 mark. So Midas again from K Destroyed. If you've not liked our videos, please like this video. If you actually loved the tutorial, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. And more videos and more tutorials on Scratch and other courses are also coming your way. So please do well to just tap on that bell button so you can get alerted when new videos come out. Till then, bye bye.